Welcome, everyone, to the Daily Juice Podcast on the Betting Pros Network. I'm your host, Sean Stacking the Money Green. Give me a follow on Twitter, at Sean T. Green. And as always, Daily Juice being brought to you by BetMGM.com. Use that promo code JUICE. Get a risk-free bet up to $1,000 on first deposit. Man, what a frustrating night. It was so close to being really good. Very close to being 3-1. Instead, we end up with a very annoying 1-2-1 on the games. Get to the recap there. And then we got more basketball coming at you. 1 pro, 2 college, and NFC Championship, AFC Championship right around the corner. I already got a couple props I like. So I'll be sprinkling those in as we get closer. If something pops up, what am I not going to give you a sweet bet there? I already got a 12-1. Tell you that much. Yeah, the disrespect. Jalen Hurts. What more do you want to see from the kid? 15-1. All right, here we go. Let's talk a little basketball. Hornets +8. They lost 120-102. This was just, again, it's a system play. Fading the Jazz as favorites, and Jazz showed up here, so not a great pick there. New Mexico +2.5. Oh my God, what a game! I don't even mind losing bets like this. That's what such a psycho I am, because the rush you get from a double overtime game, it was backbreaking. They lost by 3 points. They were catching 2.5. They had so many opportunities to cover, to get the win. It just didn't happen. But I still love you, Lobos. You have a piece of my heart. They're a fun team. I think they're going to get into the tournament. That'll be wild. So, yeah, New Mexico +2.5. Didn't cash, but, man, it was worth the ride. Glad I punched my ticket. Duke +3. This one, again, they were oh, God. They lost 78-75, so it was a push. But, man, there were some chances to get that +3. I mean, they were down by 2 so late. And then they tossed in the inbounds pass. It gets stolen. Then they foul him. Like all it really has to do is just catch the inbound pass, throw up a prayer, whatever it is. There was like 3 seconds left. Don't foul. You don't need the foul. The game's over. I need to teach I think I'm going to give back to the youth, and I'm going to hold a seminar on when you should foul or not intentionally foul. And it'll be mandatory college curriculum. So these college athletes, they don't want to be screwing over guys like me, guys like you, gamblers. Now, maybe, I don't know what you got this Duke number at. New Mexico, I think, closed higher. I saw someone give it out at 3.5. So, or they gave out Nevada 3.5. So we ended up both losing. So if you trailed New Mexico, maybe you got that 3 for a push or 3.5 even for a win. Lone winner of the evening, Kings +2. They destroyed Memphis 133-100. They got out to a great lead. Second quarter fell apart and then closed strong. There was a little window there where I was like, oh my God, are they going to lose this game? They had 47 points in the first quarter. So it's a whole new NBA. But yeah, that was a no sweat for the majority game. A little sweat, a little perspiration. Hey, if you like a good sweat or a good product, awesome transition, Sean. YouTube.com/bettingpros. Hit subscribe. Comment on this very video. Automatically entered to win 1 year free premium upgrade of Betting Pros Premium. Again, I used Betting Pros before I started working here. Still use Betting Pros Premium all the time. There's just a ton of good information, ton of calculations, ton of projections. The average person listening to the show, you don't have time to like create your own model and crunch all these numbers. No, like let them do the heavy lifting. Come in, see what the numbers say, see what your eye test says, and that to me has always been the best formula for entertainment and profit. And of course, if you don't feel like waiting to win the contest, you can just go to bettingpros.com/upgrade. Bet smarter. Highly recommend that, not harder. Okay, first up, NBA Celtics at Heat. This should be a good game. I'm taking the Celtics as a dog, +1.5. Don't see that very often. It's a back-to-back spot for Boston, but they're going to be hungry. They just got worked by the Magic in Orlando, lost by 15, 113-98. Hindsight, that would have been a good spot for the Magic. I kind of looked at it. I got distracted when I saw the Lobos and fading the Jazz as favorites. but should have come back to that. Well, one, the Magic seemed to have the Celtics number as well, and that number was just too big as a home dog, but they ended up winning outright. So now the Celtics are coming off a loss, and I know it's a back-to-back spot, but Boston is actually one of the best, if not the best team playing on no rest. They're 6-1 ATS, 7-0 straight up. So something about that wakes them up. Boston's only been a dog twice this year. They covered both times. Again, small sample size. The sample size I like, though, is the no rest angle. Them coming off a loss hasn't always been great ATS, but I think this is just a perfect spot for them. They match up really well against the Heat as well. I think their wings could have a field day against the Heat. And then Miami is just horrible at home. I don't know if it's the FTX curse. Remember when they were called FTX Arena, and now they've just been called the Arena? It was one of those adult sites as well offered to name Miami, and they're like, we'll just call it the Arena. We've had enough horrible things happen. So they really have been, their FTX is just cursing everyone, because Miami is 7-15-2 ATS at home. Brogdon and Smart look to be back for the Celtics as well. So I think that helps them in the matchup department. So give me the Celtics plus 1.5. Talking a little college hoops, UNC at Syracuse, a little ACC basketball. Love rocking with the Cuse. Syracuse plus 4.5 as a home dog. Love this spot. Syracuse has won me so much money over the years. I love the program. I feel like at some point, I'm worried the Alumni Association is going to find out how much money Syracuse college basketball has won me, and they're going to start hitting me up for donations. UNC is horrible on the road, 1-4 straight up, 1-4 ATS. Syracuse is good as a dog, 4-2 ATS, 1-0 ATS is a home dog. Relatively small sample size. UNC is heating up. I understand that's why you would maybe lean UNC here, but just Syracuse as a home dog, especially when they're hitting their threes. And they're 5% better from the arc against UNC. So I love that. And I'm sure if you dug a little deeper, the home and road splits, if you work those in, it's even more than 5%, but that's just 5% overall. The atmosphere in the Carrier Dome is always fun, and the Syracuse their defense has been playing pretty well. What is the weakness? Well, yeah, if you're playing the zone, it's closing out on those threes, defending the three, but that's not UNC's game. So I don't think UNC is going to be able to exploit them from behind the arc, aka good news for the Syracuse Orangemen and our plus 4.5. Last but not least, we got Ohio State at Illinois. Illinois is laying 3.5. Love it. Get that over at BetMGM. It's a great bounce back spot for Illinois. Again, almost all of my college basketball, football handicapping, like a lot of it is just super situational, right? Like the good teams coming off of losses, fading teams coming off big wins. This really checks a lot of those boxes. Illinois is coming off a really bad loss at home. They lost to Indiana by 15 points. They got 5 days rest to think about it, get fired up. They're at home again. And then on the flip side, Ohio State coming off a huge win against Iowa. They were at home, but Ohio State, you look at their numbers, they're a completely different team, home and road. Last 3 road games, they've lost to Nebraska, Rutgers, and Maryland. Just a big whiff for a Big Ten team. Ohio State, 1-4 ATS on the road. Illinois, 7-4 ATS. And you just look at the matchups, pretty even, but that's why I'm taking Illinois here, because the situational spot is just such a big difference for me. And then last but not least, Illinois' defense at home, I think can really put the screws on Ohio State and get this win. And more importantly, get this cover, because that's what the kids got to care about. So for the picks, we got Illinois minus 3.5. We got the Syracuse Orangemen at plus 4.5. And we got your Boston Celtics plus 1.5. And, of course, we got BetMGM. Use a promo code JUICE, $1,000 risk-free bet on first deposit. How have you not signed up for that? If you haven't, I don't know what you're doing. Follow us on TikTok at Betting Pros. Follow me on Twitter at Sean T. Green. Check out my other podcast, the Sports Gambling Podcast. And you know what to do. As always, subscribe, rate, and review. And don't forget to let it ride.